you're getting last
Okay,
minute.
and we're live. It is close to noon, I think, right? Are we close to noon?
1 minute, 2 minutes.
Okay. Let's see if we can get people to log on. It is Lunch and Learn with me, Dr. Polly Heil-Mealey at Abundant Health and Wellness. It's been a rough week. It's been, I tried to open the windows on Monday, and when I had opened 4, and I wanted to get a cross ventilation, and I went to open that 5th one, and something popped in my back, and it was kind of crazy. Thankfully, the cranial psychotherapist was here, and she was able to give me immediate attention. I did have to stay home from work on Tuesday, but I've been back every other day since. So we're going to pick up our conversation where we were last week as far as the endocrine system. So we talked about the thyroid last week. Today I want to talk about the adrenals. Now we posted a blog, but we also posted some links on last week, so you can look at that and see some things about the thyroid. So everybody's concerned about the thyroid, and rightfully so. But as I said last week, the adrenal glands play a huge part in whether or not we are synthesizing all of the different hormones. So there is a statement called the adrenal hormone cascade. You're going to have to Google that. I don't have time to go through all this with you in the 30 minutes. But the adrenal hormone cascade has a direct effect on what's going on with the adrenals and the thyroid. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So adrenal fatigue is whenever you have been in the fight or flight mode for a very long time, and cortisol keeps being pumped out over and over and over. So when that happens, then the adrenals get fatigued. Now, this is something that your medical doctor may or may not understand. Most do not understand. And some websites, medical websites, say that there is no such thing as adrenal fatigue. Well, you're going to have to just choose, but we believe in the holistic world that there are certain things, certain symptoms that you might have that indicate adrenal fatigue. And one of them is your pupil. If your pupil is very, very large, then you could be affected by adrenal fatigue. If you crave salty foods, then that is something also. Hey, Donna. Hey, Denise. Those are some things that also could indicate adrenal fatigue. So we want to talk about some different foods that we can use to help with our adrenals, because if our adrenals aren't doing what they need to do, and go back to last week and look up that HPA axis. Okay, the HPA is the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. So if that axis is not functioning properly, then you could be well on your way toward adrenal fatigue. So we want to talk a little bit about some foods that help with adrenal fatigue. So two of the main, or well, there's a lot of main foods, but one of them is vitamin C. Now, I had no idea how much vitamin C someone with adrenal fatigue could use. So normally we know that vitamin C is ascorbic acid. And what you might not know is that you have to have the ascorbic acid, and you also have to have the bioflavonoids. Now, the bioflavonoids need to be in a ratio of 1 to 2. So that would be we'll say 500 milligrams of ascorbic acid and 250 milligrams of bioflavonoids. The bioflavonoids help you to get everything that you need. It's a cofactor, and it makes the ascorbic acid much more bioavailable. Try saying that 3 times. So, where are your bioflavonoids? Well, they used to be known as vitamin P. Okay, there are 4,000 different bioflavonoids, but here are some of your most common ones. There are some that are in your red wine, in your grapes, and the bark, from the maritime pine. Now, I remember watching Yul Gibbons back in the day, and he would say that he ate pine cones, and he would say, and as you know, many parts are edible. Well, of course, he's gone on to his reward now, and I don't know that it was because he ate pine cones, but this particular bark on this particular pine does have a lot of bioflavonoids. One that you might be really familiar with is quercetin. You can buy quercetin all by itself, or you can get it in your citrus fruits. Now, this quercetin is in the white, pithy part of the fruit. So most of us, me, I peel my orange or my lemon or my lime or grapefruit or whatever it is, and then I meticulously peel all that white stuff off because I don't like the taste. I don't like the taste of it, I don't like the texture of it, and it's kind of sour. Well, that's where all your quercetin is, so you need that. And then you want to look at that. It is the most active of the flavonoids, the bioflavonoids, but then you can get green tea polyphenols from your green tea plant, okay? The polyphenols there. So you get all of them. It's from the fresh cut leaf, so you can do the green tea and that kind of thing. So what we have here in the clinic, we have Alkali C. Now, Alkali C is 1 teaspoon, a heaping teaspoon is 6 grams of ascorbic acid. That's a lot, okay? So 1 teaspoon gives you that much, and it does have all the bioflavonoids in here. It also has your minerals in here. It's got your calcium, magnesium, zinc, selenium, manganese, chromium, molybdenum, potassium, and vanadium. I don't know that I'm saying all those right, but that's what it looks like here. So, and it tastes good, and it works. So the directions say take 1 teaspoon once or twice a day in water. It tastes like orange. It tastes really good. I use this. I have this up in my kitchen. So a normal person will need 2 to 5 grams of ascorbic acid a day. That's a lot, okay? If you are getting your vitamin C at the health food store, you might be getting it in a powder or you might be getting it in a capsule, and normally the capsules are 1,000 milligrams. So if you get the 1,000 milligram, what you're going to be doing, you're going to be having to take 5 of those in order for you to get whatever you need. So we all know, maybe you don't know, but I know, if you get too much vitamin C, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to be going to the potty because, hi Kim, thanks for joining. You're going to be going to the potty because it produces loose, watery stool. So we don't want you to get that high. This is the key. People with adrenal fatigue can take, I've got notes here. Okay, people with adrenal fatigue could need 15 to 20 grams a day. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Nobody in their right mind would take that all at once. I'm just saying. So what you want to do is you want to work up to that dosage depending on how fatigued your adrenals are. So that was kind of, when I was doing the research on this, that was kind of like, oh wow, that's quite a lot. So that made me rethink, because when I'm doing this, because this is what I have. Now, I do have a salty taste. I like to eat a lot of salt, especially when I get off work. I'm just like hungry for salt, so I'll get some salted nuts, or oh my goodness, maybe a Frito. I know I shouldn't, but I'm just being real with you. And when you crave salt, it's because of adrenal fatigue. So I started this year, earlier on, I started making sure that I took a lot of protein at lunch, because my habit had been to work through lunch and not get any lunch. So when I started doing my protein at lunch, and I'll do cheese and lunch meat and nuts, then I don't have that same adrenal fatigue or that same need for salt at the end of the day. So that's just, by the by. You also need vitamin E. Now, vitamin E is required for 6 different enzyme actions in the adrenal cascade, right? 800 international units is needed by the body. Now, be sure that you look on your vitamin E. You want to get vitamin E from a really good source. A lot of times you'll get it from soy lecithin. And I know you're going to say, but Dr. Paula, you don't like soy. No, I don't. But the suppliers that I have that do use the soy lecithin use non-GMO soy. So you can also get it from sunflower seeds. So you've got some choices there. And I read yesterday something else about sunflower seeds, which are very, very good. I can't remember what I read, but I read something about that. Okay, so on to your vitamins, your B vitamins. So you need vitamin B5, which is pantothenic acid. You need 1,500 milligrams a day. Niacin, which is B3, you need 25 to 50 milligrams per day. Now, if you take niacin on an empty stomach, you're going to have a flush. Your face is going to get really red. Your blood pressure may spike. You may get a little bit queasy. So we always want you to do niacin with food, okay? Then your vitamin B6, you need 50 to 100 milligrams every day. So your B vitamins are your stress vitamins, right? They are water soluble, so you're going to just pee them away. They're not going to get stored in the tissue. I want you to be cautious about getting a multi-B or a B complex. They're not usually at a high enough therapeutic dose for you. So you want to make sure that you're getting these 3 Bs, the B5, B3, and B6 in these dosages so you can help your adrenal glands recover. And then you need, on your minerals, you need your zinc, your selenium, your molybdenum, your chromium, your copper, and your iodine. So almost everything was in here except the iodine. Now, iodine is important. So this is October, and this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, of course, and you need iodine for proper adrenal function. You need iodine for proper thyroid function, but you also need iodine for proper breast health. So I want to read something. Yes, I want to read something about this. So the necessity of iodine isn't exclusive to the thyroid. The entire body needs it. You might say that your body requires iodine the way a car requires oil. So, you know, in your vehicle, if you just put gasoline in your vehicle and you don't put oil in your vehicle, what's going to happen? Well, you're not going to go very far because your gears are not going to move the way they need to. So apparently, iodine is what makes everything function the way it needs to. So, breast tissue contains the highest concentration of iodine in the body, even more than your thyroid. So we give people that come in with hypothyroid function, we give them iodine, but we don't normally think of iodine for breast health. So what I want you to do is think about iodine for breast health. So 40% of the world's population, including people in America, are iodine deficient. One of the primary causes is inadequate iron intake. Food has been the source of iodine, but this has been in decline for decades. Bread is a perfect example. So I want to talk to you about bread. Until 1980, iodine was put into the bread to make the dough rise better, make it adhere better, and all that kind of stuff. After 1980, they started substituting bromide. I was going to make sure I was getting the right form of this halogen. These are halogens. Iodine's a halogen, fluoride's a halogen, bromine is a halogen. That means on the periodic table, they're in the same line, okay? They have the same valence electrons and all that kind of stuff. So for whatever reason, probably because of cost, they decided that they put the bromide in the bread instead of the iodine. So we lost part of the iodine in our food supply. Now, normally we get iodine from seafood, but what else do we get from seafood? We get mercury, so that kind of gives us a problem with that. So another thing is that the halogens, because they have the same chemical constituency as far as the valence electrons, the thyroid will pick up the bromide or the fluoride instead of the iodine, and there won't be a place for iodine to go into the thyroid. So it's kind of complicated. This is why we read labels and that kind of thing. But you need iodine for breast health. So every cell, every organ, every system in the body needs iodine, and this is doubly true for the female breast. Breast has a greater concentration of iodine than the thyroid, and the same iodine transporting proteins that are used by the thyroid gland, okay? A healthy breast tissue needs iodine because iodine offers antioxidant benefits. Conversely, iodine deficient breast tissue is susceptible to lipid oxidation and contributes to many diseases, including fibroids and cancer. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough iodine. Now, we in the holistic field have always known that if you had fibroids, either uterine or breast or ovarian fibroids, that it was definitely a thyroid. There was a thyroid issue. So it could not be that it's a thyroid issue. It could be that you just don't have enough iodine. So we need to make sure that we supplement with that. So that's something that's very, very important. So let's talk about herbs that are good for the thyroid. Sorry, for the adrenals. We're on adrenals today. Licorice root. Now, a lot of people don't want to do licorice root because they've got blood pressure issues. There's some studies that go back and forth. So, Chinese licorice root is better than regular licorice root. It doesn't affect the blood pressure as much. So, Korean ginseng is not recommended for women because of the DHA issue. Ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is an adaptogen for cortisol. So remember last week we talked about if your HPA axis is not right and you're producing too much cortisol, which we can tell on a salivary test that we now do here in the clinic. If your cortisol is too high, ashwagandha will modulate that cortisol down. So if you need more, it'll modulate it up. If you need less, it'll modulate it down. So it's a great herb. Siberian ginseng, which is different than Korean ginseng, believe it or not, I know, it will support and rejuvenate the adrenals. Ginger root regenerates and modulates cortisol level. Ginkgo is a positive antioxidant that kills free radicals. Now, what do we have here? We've got different things. We talked about the HPA axis. We've got an herb for that. And it's a blend. It's got, now remember, HPA, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal. It's got pituitary glandular, adrenal glandular, hypothalamus glandular, ashwagandha. Who would think it would have that in there, right? And rhodiola, right? So this is a great all-purpose glandular that helps you modulate your adrenal function. Now, we haven't talked about glandular, so let's talk about glandular. What is a glandular? Well, your endocrine system is made up of glands. Your thyroid is a gland, your adrenals are a gland, your pancreas is a gland. A gland secretes a hormone. So any part of your body that secretes a hormone is a gland. When you go to the doctor, and we talked about this last week, when we talked about thyroid, they'll give you levothyroxine, or they'll give you Armour Thyroid, or sometimes Nature's Thyroid, depending on what they get. But they'll do it 24/7, and once you get on this, they'll check your bloods, and as your TSH goes up, they'll give you more glandular. And so we don't do that in holistic world because we know that your gland needs to have a break so it can actually function. Your body's very smart. If you're always given the glands a glandular extract, then your gland is going to say, oh, I can put my feet up. I don't have to work today because I'm getting all this supplementation. Well, that's not what we want. If we have adrenal fatigue, if we have adrenal burnout, we might need some glandular. And we've got Adrenal Life Force, and it has get this, all these vitamins, B3, B6, B5. It's got magnesium, potassium, rhodiola, adrenal tissue, bovine from a cow, not a pig. We don't like pig parts. And then L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid. Very, very good for rebuilding the adrenal gland. We've got another adrenal complex. And this one has, surprise, surprise, vitamin C, thiamine, riboflavin, vitamin B6, vitamin B5, zinc, and licorice root. So this also will help. It also has adrenal glandular. I'm thinking it's a bovine source. I'll have to look at that. I'm thinking it's bovine. It doesn't say on the bottle, but I'm real picky. This one I know is porcine. I don't like this one, but it's cheaper. And so people are on budgets, right? I personally don't eat pork. I don't eat shellfish because it's just they're bottom feeders. I don't want to do that. So this is made, it's got your B1, your B2, B3, B6, and it's got your B12 as well. And it's got glandular, and its glandular is porcine. I'm just telling you. So that's not my favorite one, but whatever. This adrenal code, this is a liquid. Now, this is homeopathic, so I don't know if you understand the difference between glandular and homeopathy, but this actually has the adrenal gland, and I know that this one is made from New Zealand lamb. All right, so again, it's not a porcine source, and it's got also the pituitary, the thyroid, and the adrenal glandular in here. So what we do in Holistic World is we'll give you some of these supplements, and you'll take the glandular for 30 days, and then we'll give you the ashwagandha or the minerals or some other formula that doesn't have the glandular in it, so that your body can use that glandular and feed that gland so that you do much, much better. Now, we've also got this product if your cortisol is way out of whack and you want to modulate your cortisol. It's called Cortisol Management. So it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out what that is, right? And it just modulates. It's got ashwagandha in it, and so we know that ashwagandha will modulate up or down. So this is a good product too. Now, we've got this little essential oil blend, and it is for the adrenals. So when your adrenals are functioning, then this serves as a foundation of your personality. So people that are adrenal fatigued, people that have adrenal issues, they're very quick to hop into that anger issue, okay? So we want to make sure, hey, Lene, we want to make sure that if we have loved ones that have a really quick trigger, they just hop over into that anger thing. It could be a sign of adrenal fatigue. It also could be a sign of liver congestion. So these are some things that we need to look at. But when the adrenals are functioning properly, we feel safe, we feel connected, we feel supportive, and we feel strong. So this is what we want to do. So we can work on the body. Now, we don't want to do all of this all at one time. Okay, we don't want to do that. We want to do one or two. We want to do something, we don't want to overdo. Now, the adrenal point, we talked about the adrenal point on the Chinese meridians. Now, your adrenal point, believe it or not, is on the center of your pubic bone, right? It's also on the center of your tailbone. So if you get this essential oil, it's already diluted and fractionated coconut oil. You can just put it right on your body. I do it every day, and you just put it right on the pubic bone or right on your tailbone, or both. I do both, and it keeps me grounded, makes me feel supported, and I'm able to go through the day. And most of the time, I don't have a hair trigger on the anger issue, right? I mean, I used to. I'll be honest, I used to, but that was been many, many years ago. And so I take care of my adrenals. I take care of my thyroid. I take care of my breast tissue with iodine. Now, I want to talk to you about iodine. There is an iodine patch test that you can do to see if your body is deficient. And don't think that because you're taking iodine salt that you're getting what you need, okay? Because you're not. That iodine in that salt is not bioavailable. I'm just telling you, okay? So what you want to do, and I think we have some somewhere. Do we have the iodine up here? Iodine that we paint on the wrist? I'm looking. I couldn't see it.
No, that's the zinc.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got something called iodine. It's liquid. Ah, there we go. This brand is called Kent Marine. And it says it's iodine supplement for the aquarium. Well, you don't want to be taking this internally, I'm just saying. But this is what we do. So I'm gonna be a guinea pig here. Okay. So you pull some up and you take your wrist or your forearm, and I'm gonna make a mess. Okay. So you put it on. You put it on. And it discolors, the light's really bright, so you might not be able to see that much. Thank you. But it discolors, and you keep painting it on until you get like a 2x2 square. And then what you want to do is you want to look at the time. So the time is 12:25 right now. So you would want to watch and check your wrist or wherever you paint it. You want to paint it on your soft tissue. You want to watch that and see, still running down my arm, sorry. You want to watch that and see how long it takes your body to absorb the iodine. So it should last, that little patch should be visible for 24 hours, right? Well, I can tell you that the last time I did this, it was gone in 2 hours. Okay, so that meant that I was very, very iodine deficient. So this was several years ago. I came home from the conference. They had made me the guinea pig, and they were all quite surprised when they asked to see my arm, and I said, "Oh, it's been gone." It was gone in 2 hours. I mean, it was just gone. And so it's not going to hurt you. It's going to stain your clothes if you get on your clothes, but it's not going to hurt you. And so what you want to do is, this is a good way to see how fast it absorbs, because if it absorbs and it's totally gone before 24 hours, then you have an iodine deficiency. If you have an iodine deficiency, you've got thyroid issues, adrenal issues, breast issues if you're a woman, but prostate issues if you're a man. So iodine is extremely, extremely important. Now, I didn't bring this out, but we've got a product here at the clinic called Spectralite. Spectralite is ionic minerals. Ionic, that means it is the same pH as the blood. So when you ingest it, it goes right up into the bloodstream. It doesn't go through digestion, and you get 100% of what you need. Now, Spectralite, thank you. I've got Vanna's in the back over there. So anyway, we do 15 drops twice a day, and it has all of your trace minerals. So it's the trace minerals that we're missing when we have adrenal fatigue. So it does have the iodine in here. We also have iodine in a tincture, and it tastes like lemons. So it makes it very, very easy to ingest. And when I came home from the conference and knew that I had iodine insufficiency, I was taking like 3 droppers 3 times a day, just to make sure that I was getting all that I needed. So this is a very, very important nutrient. And so I hope you guys have learned something. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We're going to try and link our Facebook Live to our blog, so you get more in writing than you have been getting. So try and watch this space, subscribe to the blog. And if you don't have our app, then download the app from the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. It's free, and it gives you all of our information. And you don't have to search for me. It just pops up right on your phone. Okay? You guys have a good weekend. Oh, yes, my newest blog post, posted yesterday, and it's linked to the Facebook Live for last week, and it talks about thyroid. So you'll enjoy that, and let me know what you want to learn about, and we'll keep doing these lunch and learns. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. Love you much.